So Attack on Titan's one of those shows that people think pretty highly of. Not only do people really enjoy it, but they take it very seriously. So if there's any slight mishap in the show, people will notice. What I want to do today is talk about those mishaps, ranging anywhere from tiny error to something not so forgiving. And of course, subscribe if you're new. So contrary to popular belief, Attack on Titan is not a perfect story. I would like to say it is, but even it has its fair share of junk. Our first little plot hole of the day. Eren receives the Founding Titan and Attack Titan as a kid around 10 years old, shortly after the first wall breach. Fast forward through the 2 years of hard labor he did and 3 years of military training, and you get his first transformation. So why didn't he have any inclination that he healed rapidly or straight up turn into a Titan? It's pushed into our brains that you need a goal in mind to transform or something along that line. But with Bertholdt cutting himself at his camp in Season 4 and transforming, that's proven to be an utter lie. Something as small as a paper cut, or in Eren's case, pain from a broken hand, can transform you without your consent. From seeing only a few days of Eren's years of training and still watching him get very hurt, you can infer that he'd just transform or something. And there's the obvious scene where his head is steaming in episode 3, so it's safe to say he'd been Titan regenerating since before that moment. This is a small but annoying issue in my opinion. He assuredly would have transformed before the huge time skip or known something was up. So this is an unrealistic error in the story that was at the end of the day just something convenient that Isayama decided wasn't really important. On our plot hole rating, I'll give this a solid 6. It's a very far-fetched idea that in 5 whole years he wouldn't know he's a literal Titan or at least gain memories of eating his dad. 5 years is a really long time. Next up, shifter names. The first time the Waldians see the shifters, they give them names. Armored, female, colossal, and beast. Coincidentally, these are the actual names of each shifter named many eons ago. Crazy that they came up with the exact same names. And what's worse is that in the manga, Hanji decides to name Eren's Titan the Founding Titan, which again is just the name it's named. So first, the Armored Titan. This is definitely the least offensive. Many people who watched the show and saw him before his name dropped referred to him having armor. His armor is probably a trait through every other Armored Titan that's existed, so the idea that he was named the Armored Titan from Eldians is not so far-fetched of a coincidence. The Colossal Titan is a little weirder, but of the same sort of caliber. Not sure what the direct translation Isayama used is, but colossal isn't the most common adjective. It's still less surprising than some others that the Waldians guessed the name spot on, but it's still slightly weird. Then there's the female Titan. I don't know what's going on with this shifter to be honest. Annie shows off a lot of interesting powers for the female, and it's revealed to Armin while on a boat that she can borrow other shifters' powers. I don't know why this was necessary to bring into the story, but regardless, the name in itself is just not it. We have no information on other female Titans, and the idea that the female Titan is only accessible to females is an idea, but it's not confirmed and it's not easy to believe. Most people think the female Titan could be passed down to a dude and it'd be fine. So if she's really named the female Titan from original Eldians, I don't buy it. I'm not sure if her shifter's real name was ever dropped or if anyone else referred to her shifter's name at all. But I think that would have been a cool detail to add in, just essentially get a rename for the female because the Waldians just didn't know. The Beast Titan is interesting too, but not nearly as bad as the female Titan. Mike and some others gave it one look and called it a beast, and it turns out that's just his name. I won't be too hard on this because you could call it the animal or monster Titan, but beast basically combines those two words. And the final sin is the Founding Titan. Hanji decides it could be named the Progenitor Titan, which is misleading in the English version because the name isn't changed in Japanese. She calls it the Founding Titan, and apparently that's just what it's called. Fortunately, the anime decides, well, at least we can save one shifter name, and Rod Race name drops it before Hanji can have the chance. So Eren and Historia are already aware of the name. That is definitely a dub for the anime. The plot hole rating for the names is a 4. There were no real plot holes from this, and it doesn't really matter. It is unfortunate though that we'll never know about the female Titan and it only being manifested in girls. The next one's pretty small, but I figure I'd include it anyways. When Levi recovered Eren from Annie's mouth, many think he could have killed her. In my eyes, Levi was just doing the militarily smart thing, which I'm not sure how well that fits into his character, but I've always thought it was just smart to take Eren and go. Could he have killed her? Yes, of course, but why would Isayama want one of his precious shifters to get murked by Levi? Couldn't do it then, and he couldn't do it with Zeke. The plot hole rating for this is 4, mainly because what could have / should have happened would drastically have changed the story. Now, let's get into the warrior mission. 4 12-year-old kids with some of the most valuable assets in the world are sent alone to Paradise. Marley is aware that Paradise contains the Founding Titan, but decides, oh yeah, this is a good idea. Of course, the shifters get their asses kicked, with the jaw getting stolen immediately, female Titan being captured, and the Colossal Titan being inherited by Armin. I assume that the Beast and Cart were sent as reinforcements, but 5 years after they dropped the 4 of them off, I feel like it'd be too late. You're basically throwing your shifters away at that point. Now, obviously, this is the worst plan of all time. In Season 2, when Zeke transformed for Gakko Village, we see later in Season 4 that he did have Marley and company. If you were going to make a plan to destroy Paradise, I think everybody would agree that you'd be better off full sending it. Just bring 7 shifters and absolutely annihilate them. What's funny too is since Marley knew the royal family had the Founding Titan, they also knew that their shifters could be disabled, memory wiped, killed, anything. That part was just luck though. If Frieda still had the Titan, she could have just altered the warriors' memories and used them. Now, what about them being kids? Zeke was indoctrinated a bit older and they sent him in his early 20s. I think this idea of kids as warrior candidates is a little strange. You can defend it in all sorts of ways, but in the Attack on Titan universe, kids are not special and an adult with the shifter would have just been better. As an adult who's already brainwashed to do what the government says, it also just seems a little more effective. You can wean out anybody who seems to falter from their devotion and use the best people for your shifters. I've read some opinions on this, and I'm not sure how much Isayama planned and how in-depth it was, but I think I might give him too much credit. Over the long 12 years, he changed a lot in his story, but did it in a way that it's hard to notice. So props to him for that, but what is our plot hole rating for the warrior candidates? I'll give this an 8 out of 10. Things happen all the time in storytelling that exists for one reason: to make the story better. The warriors being in Eren's class did make the story better, but it wasn't realistic. If Attack on Titan was realistic all the time, we would have a story that's over pretty quick. So this is a strange decision, but it was necessary in my opinion. Now, let's talk about Frieda's battle versus Grisha. When Grisha confronted the race family, he took Frieda's Titan pretty easily. Isayama claims that her Titan body wasn't good for fighting, which is true, and that she was inexperienced. But Frieda shouldn't have been inexperienced. A royal blood user of the Founding Titan is a literal god. They have access to every Eldian in their memories, which you could parallel to an OP avatar past self thing, which arguably makes Frieda the most experienced human alive. Unfortunately, this wasn't shown off, and Grisha won as a means to push the plot. I guess that is the special power of the Attack Titan. My plot hole rating for this is a 4. The Founding Titan definitely could have destroyed Grisha in more ways than one, but it's just another one of those things, I guess. Our final plot hole we're going to talk about involves a discussion between Erwin and Levi in Season 3. In a flashback talking about the Titan injection, Erwin tells Levi to use it on a soldier near death because this will use its full potential. But many think Erwin even bringing up the idea of saving someone from death goes against his character. Erwin would have rather had the one who's most capable take the injection rather than a random person who they can save. Erwin's definitely a big picture guy. To let one person they could have saved die in order to have a very capable shifter seems like a trade-off that he'd take. What's unfortunate is this is one of the many blunders in the story going forward with the Shiganshina arc. Erwin and Levi are both forced to do things that they wouldn't have, with people even critiquing Erwin's decision to do the charge. Erwin has always been a master planner and is extremely quick to judge a situation. The charge seems like it was written only to add a cool moment for Erwin to die, because retreating within the walls, regardless of if they had horses or not, was the better option. Especially if you planned on eating a shifter. Maneuver gear over the wall, eat the armored titan, and carry your squad back. Seems hard, but it's a lot better than mass suicide. I'd give this plot hole rating a 6. There were a lot of questionable writing decisions from Isayama that persist through this entire arc. Granted, it is a very cool arc, but the decisions made aren't that realistic. From the charge to Levi picking Armin, and even weirdness with Reiner transforming. Now, there are a lot more so-called plot holes in the story, but to prevent this video from dragging on, I'll end it here. So thanks for watching, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one.